Hey y'all, hey, it's Dr. Tasha here. Welcome to the debut episode of And Another Thing, Healing, Growing, and Thriving Together. So let's dive right on in. This episode will be about owning your story, right? Embracing your authentic self. What does that look like, right? I think for so long, especially as Black women, we go with the flow of who people want us to be, who they need us to be, who we're groomed to be. We have this checklist of things that we do in life to say, I made it. But inside, there's a tension. There is something that's happening on the inside of us where we just are unhappy. There's an unsettling that is going on within inside of us. We're at war on the inside. I know for certain and for sure that I am not the only one that has felt like this. One thing I will say that you will get from me throughout this podcast is authenticity. I'm going to be vulnerable because I believe that vulnerability heals and vulnerability calls for vulnerability. And that's the only way that we can really exert our courage in this world is to open up. So I'm going to start. You'll hear a lot about me. If you don't want to hear about me, tune out. Okay. But anyway, so I am a third generation preacher. I am a wife. I am a professor. I am a business owner. I am a therapist. I am a sister, a friend, a soror, right? I live a very, very full life. But did I tell you that I was a third generation preacher, which means I've been in the church from the womb? You hear me? So all of my life, I've been groomed to do as the church does, as the people say. And I found throughout my journey that it really just did not work for me. There was a tension on the inside. Don't get me wrong. Now, I love Jesus. I serve Jesus. I profess heaven is my home. But there are some things that I just don't agree with as I begin to mature and develop my own relationship. And so at any given day, I got a love hate relationship with the Black church, but I'm down for Jesus like four flat tires. So putting that all into context, you'll get some of my views, whether you like them or not, they belong to me and I'm going to own them. Okay. But growing up, I had this checklist of things that I had to do because I was a church girl, right? I didn't become a PK until I was an adult. So I really don't have that experience. But my grandparents were pastors. So growing up in the church, this is what you did. This is how you did it. This is why we did it, which was a lot of that religiosity that I don't necessarily subscribe to today. But with that, there's this list that I had in my mind, right? Of I have to do this and all of these to-dos that just didn't feel right. So I was at war within myself until finally I said, Tasha, you don't even like any of this. And so in my mind, I had to separate church from Christ, right? And become a follower of Christ more so. And there are values, there are things that I've learned in the Black church that were great, right? That still undergird me today in many of my aspects. But what that meant was I had to dismantle some of the ways and thinking that I had that was really keeping me hostage. It had me bound. I was struggling. And it wasn't until I removed myself from certain settings and was like, well, what is my checklist? Well, God, what you want me to do? How am I writing this story? How will you use everything that I went through for your greater good? So, God, what is we doing? Right. And that period, oh my goodness, I cherish that period of my life where I literally just threw this stuff away because I knew that my story matters and I could not measure up to anybody else's story. My story for me mattered. What I was doing, the way I was going, God had plans for that story. I had to dig real deep to find out who Tasha was, what God wanted to do with Tasha, not who God wanted to do with a clone of someone else that I saw in a different setting. It just didn't work. Right. And so owning your story. Have you ever had this checklist placed in front of you like, yo, I've been trying to do it so and so's way and it's just not working. I've been trying to do it this way because that's what I've been taught to do. I've been trying to live life to everyone else's expectations except for mine. So listen, I want you to sit and think about that because there is another way. There is a way that you can dig deep within you and figure out why you are here. For those of you that don't know me, I am big on purpose and operating in the reason why God put you here. I am a servant at heart. I want to serve my community. I want to serve God's people. At the same time, I want everybody to operate in purpose because we are here to be helpers of one another. So let's look at the power of owning our own story. It's okay if you don't know where you're going right now. It's okay if you're still working on that checklist that was handed to you. I just want to enlighten you and open your eyes that there is something else out there for you that you can. There is freedom, there's intentionality. And just because you veer off of what others have done and has done in their life, it doesn't mean that you cannot accomplish everything. And that doesn't mean that you don't have value, right? So I want you to just think back of all of your ups and downs in life, everything, everywhere that you have gone, right? Your highs and your lows. And don't tell me you ain't got no low, because all of us got a low. It is in the low where we are made for the high. Character is not produced on the mountaintop, it is produced in the valley. It is produced when you can roll up on somebody and tell them, clean off, but you don't. It's produced when someone gives you secrets to hold while you're doing well and while you're good friends. And then when you split up, you're still holding on to whatever they told you in confidentiality. Character is the thing that we do when no one else is looking. And that is not produced in the mountaintops. It's produced down in the valley of who we are and what we do and the morals that we carry and how we want the world to see us. So listen, I want you to think about your highs and your lows, right? And this is when we begin to think about just the power of self and owning your story. There's value everything that you've gone through. I promise you, nothing shall be wasted. Nothing of the journey shall be wasted, right? So, because if God has planned and all things will work for the good, then good should come of it. So, what if you went left when you should have been right, or you went right when you should have been left? Whatever it is, it's all going to work for your good. But first, you got to own it. First, you got to own it. So, what does owning it look like? It's sitting down with self and say, I did that. That may have not been good or bad. We're not putting judgment on it. We're just owning it. I did it or I didn't do it. And I knew I should have did it. And that's okay because it's all about owning the story. Your story, every last drop of it makes you who you are today. No matter what time or when you listen to this podcast, I need you to know that you have survived 100% of everything that you've gone through. And everything that you have survived will be used for the greater good. When you step into purpose, you're going to then see why you needed it way back then, why you went through it 10, 15 years ago. You may not understand it now. You may not even own it right now because some things that we've gone through, we run from. Well, we don't want nobody to know. Well, you can lie to other people, but don't lie to yourself. Like you did it, own it. What did you grow? How did you grow from it? What can you do with it now? How does that story help somebody else? When we stop thinking about what other people will think about what we're doing and things we've gone through, because I'm sure they've gone through some things too. It is such a freedom to know I can fully be me, flaws and all, because I'm imperfectly perfect and made in the likeness of image of God. Let's now, the power of authenticity. Y'all know what authenticity is? It's the act of being authentic, 100% me. But I can't be 100% me if I'm trying to be somebody else. I can't be 100% me if I'm abiding by societal rules and norms that don't serve me, but yet they hold me bound. I can't authentically be me when I'm trying to clone somebody else. Now, if you're newer on this journey and you're settling in to finding you, finding purpose, looking for intentionality and freedom, I get it. This can seem a little uncomfortable. Like, how do I get there? I want you to begin to look at some of the circles that you are in. Do they measure up for where you're going? I want you to look at some of the people that you are in fellowship or communion with on the daily basis. Do they measure for where I'm going? I want you to look inside and say, each and every day when I walk into rooms, when I'm at work, am I being the truest self? Is my yes, yes, and is my no, a no? Am I doing things to please other people? And let me tell you, we are going to do a podcast on people pleasing. Y'all, people pleasing shows up in so many different ways, but you cannot live in authenticity and you pleasing others. Please yourself. Point blank, period. I ain't out here to please nobody but God. And if it don't work for you, it just don't work for you. If people can't get with me and my authentic self, they're not for me. And that's cool. I can love you from a distance. I don't mean no harm to nobody, but my people know me. My people love me, right? I don't have to people please. So living in that authenticity, your story matters. I want you to repeat after me. I have value. Go ahead. Say it with your chest and say it for the people in the back. I have value. How that feel? Say it again. I have value. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've gone through, you can always change the narrative. I don't care how you got here. The point is you're here. And if you're hearing this, you did not stumble upon this journey by accident. You got value. I want you to own your story, right? I want you to begin to affirm yourself that I am more than enough. Along this journey, y'all, I want you to buy a notebook, get your phone out, create a digital notepad. But these are the things that we're talking about going forward, where we're challenging our being so that we can show up in the world as unstoppable. As women and men, hey, y'all, hey, men, if y'all listening, that we can walk in and begin to shift rooms, right? We always want to walk in a room and be the thermometer. Nah, I'm sorry, be the thermostat. We never want to be the thermometer. A thermometer takes the temperature. A thermostat sets it. When I walk into a room, I want to set the temperature. I'm going to be so authentic and so full of self, not the self that's cocky, arrogant, but full of confidence, that in presence, I can be in a room and not say anything, but you will know I'm there because I hold presence about myself. And I want the same for you too. I want when you walk into a room, I want you to be that thermostat. We live authentically. We live vulnerably, right? It's okay. We don't have to put on this facade. We don't have to carry this cape on our back and this big S on our chest. Y'all, it's really okay. We don't have to be superwoman. We don't. My husband calls me all the time. He's like, yo, you're my superwoman. And I'm like, yo, but I'm not. Because in being vulnerable, I get tired. I get frustrated. Things are too much because I'm not meant to carry it. And I ain't ashamed to say it. I need help. I ain't afraid. And so I don't want you to be afraid either. I do want you to start to make some changes in your life. Only you know what those changes need to be. The first one will probably be the hardest of coming to terms saying, I don't like where I'm at. I don't like the life I live. I don't like the decisions I make. And the one that says, I may not like me, but you may not like you because you don't even know you yet. And that's okay too. Embark on a journey to learn yourself. Embark on a journey to become all that you can be. Embark on a journey that may differ from your parents, your siblings, the people you know. Deep down on the inside of you, you are here for something and to serve someone because God don't put you here just because there's no accident in you being here, that you have breath in your body and you've gone through the things that you've gone through. Oh, that's no accident. Sis, that ain't an accident. So I want you to get comfortable. So settle in. I want you to know. I want you to own your story and embrace your authentic self because you have value. You are valuable. Listen, if you've enjoyed this, I want you to like it. I want you to share it. I want you to tune in next time. Okay. Like, share, tune in next time because we are going on this transformative journey. I don't know where it's going to end. I just know that I'm showing up with my authentic self. I'm showing up to help heal and grow. And I'm showing up vulnerable. And I'm showing up just because this is my purpose in this season. And y'all, I'm okay with it. So like, share, and come back. I'll see you again, Dr. Tasha.